Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about how to prepare yourself for a job in a foreign country. So if you're a Kenyan, in recent times even the president has been going around telling young people that go out there and get jobs in other countries, then send remittances back home. So I don't know, maybe that is part of his big plan to spur the economy, which again, I don't want to be political, but depending on which side you look at it, some people might be thinking like, it's sending too much labor out. Some people might be like, what about the people that will remain? Like, how are we going to build our own industries if everyone is leaving? So yeah, I don't want to get into that debate. For this video, I'm going to be talking about how to prepare yourself to get a job in a foreign country. So whether it's a skilled job that requires papers or whether it's a casual job that doesn't require papers, this will apply to, again, I think pretty much any country in the entire world, because most of these details are usually the same. Different countries like to copy different policies that work. As it is with making videos like this, I need to make a quick disclaimer. Number one, I do not help anyone with any sort of visa applications. So if you ever see any post in the wild like, oh, I'm offering or I'm charging people for visa, whatever, or please, I don't do anything like that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If I can, I will answer it. I will try my best. If I don't know, then unfortunately I just don't know. So consider this information as entertainment. This is not legal information. You also need to do your own research on everything that I'm saying, because I'm also not a lawyer. I've never been. I don't plan on being one. So don't consider this as legal information. All this is just from my own personal knowledge, research, and experiences. So yeah, I think I need to make sure that is straightforward first, because yeah, the internet can be sometimes a crazy place. Yeah, like I mentioned, there's two things to consider. There's the first kind of job, which is visa sponsored. What that means is, let's say you're applying for a job in a country like, let's say, Netherlands, and there's a company there that is looking to hire people, and you're from Kenya. This company might be able to sponsor your visa. So visas can be very expensive. Some can cost even like $2,000 and above. So, or even 10,000. It depends on the country. So, because for a foreigner coming to Kenya to get a visa for work, I think it's close to like, I think $6,000. So yeah, it's expensive also back home. So there are companies which can sponsor your visa. Therefore, this helps you bring the cost down, and you'll basically just be paying for the flights to that place, and maybe they offer accommodation, so you have accommodation, and you can very easily be able to get in line with the country and start working. The other route is visa is not sponsored, so basically you'll be footing the entire cost of your travel to whatever country you're going to. So those are the two things you need to keep in mind. So whether you're applying as a visa sponsored or visa not sponsored. Another thing is, you also need to consider that in some countries they might require you to translate your documents, because not everyone speaks English. So if you're a Kenyan applying for, let's say, the UK, US, Canada, those countries won't require you to translate your documents, because all the Kenyan documents are already in English. But if you're from other African countries, let's say Cameroon or Senegal or any other country that doesn't speak English, and you're going to a country that speaks English, that might need you to translate most of your documents, especially your own local documents, basically like your national identification and things like that. So also keep that in mind. Then another thing, which is not on you but the other country, that is, whenever you're applying for this job, some of them, they might require, the companies might be required by the government to verify that there's no one else in that country that can do that job. That's why they need to hire foreigners. So getting those jobs is not straightforward. You might apply for it, it might be rejected for a plethora of reasons. So yeah, be careful about that, and yeah, don't lose hope. Just like, if it gets rejected, just search for something new and continue with the process. And again, this is not specific to like foreign countries. Again, even in Kenya, before a Kenyan company can hire a foreigner, they need to satisfy that they cannot find a Kenyan that can be able to do that job. So it's just logic, and it makes sense. So those are the things which you should maybe just have at the back of your mind before you start applying for jobs. Now, let's get started with the first section. So I've divided this to, actually it's only what, 4 sections, no, 3 sections. The first one is your identity, the second section is academic documents, and the third section is afterwards, let's say you get the job. And yeah, let's start with your identity. I had already talked about most of these in my first video, which you can watch if you just want to apply for a tourist visa from Kenya or any other African country, or any other country which getting a visa to some other countries is a bit problematic. Yeah, you can watch that for all the details that all the information or documents that you need. So yeah, you can watch that here, and then you can come back to these, because there are some countries which allow you to go as a tourist, and then you can convert your visa from work visa to from tourist visa to work visa. I think a good example of such a country, I think, is Canada, even though currently I think it's a bit, I think they're going to reverse that policy, something like that, because there's a lot of crisis, I think, with housing and welfare and so many other things. So maybe they're going to reverse that. But yeah, you can go as a tourist, and then when you get there, you can apply for a job. And I'm not talking about, like, a casual labor job. You can apply for, let's say you're a person in finance, you're an engineer, you're a plumber, even, like, you can apply for those jobs if you have the qualifications. So anyway, enough rambling. So yeah, let's start with the first section, which is your identity. The first thing you need is your national identification. Different countries will have a different document. For Kenya, we call it just the ID, national ID. And you need the original document, and you need copies of the same. The second one is the passport. You'll need your passport, the East Africa Community passport, not the old passport that we used to have. So again, make sure you have your recent passport, which should have several pages, which can be stamped. So don't have like a passport that only has one page left, and then you'll need to go back to your country again to apply for a passport. So be careful about that. The third thing is the birth certificate. You need your birth certificate. Again, these are documents to prove you are who you are and you reside in the country that you mentioned. So if I say I'm a Kenyan, I need these documents to prove that I'm actually a Kenyan and not from a different country. And the next document, which is very helpful, actually this is compulsory to have, is a police good conduct. I don't know about other countries, but Kenya has this. So you apply for the police good conduct. It's valid for only 1 year. But this document shows that you don't have any legal issues in your country. So you've never been like arrested or charged, and you have pending cases, things like that. So this is very important for potential employers. And good thing for Kenyans is ours is verifiable online. So whatever employer can just go online and verify the authenticity of your document. Lastly, you'll need the KRA PIN. In Kenya, again, that is called the Kenya Revenue Authority Personal Identification Number. So that shows that you don't have any pending taxes, you're not being chased around for tax collection or tax evasion. So again, another important document. So all these lie in your identity. All this information, I think I go more into more rambling or more details in the other video, which you can watch. Yeah, that concludes your identity. So you need all these documents, and all these documents you need the originals, apart from the police good conduct, because that is generated online. The KRA PIN also, this is generated online, but good thing about this is they are verifiable online. So yeah, that won't be an issue. Make sure you have all these documents. Now into the second part, and that is the important part when it comes to applying for a job, and that is academic documents. Whether you're applying as a professional or as a like unskilled laborer, if you have any sort of academic qualifications, these will help you to get a job much quicker than not having any document. And when it comes to documents, the first thing you will need to do is obviously you will have your evidence of school. So if you have a degree, if you have a diploma, whatever it is, a master's, make sure you have these documents ready, because this will be very important to verify you finished your studies. Again, if you're from other countries that don't speak English and you're like English is not your official language, let's say, again, a good example that I can just think of from the top of my mind is something like Angola, where they speak, I think it's Portuguese, unless you're applying for a job in, let's say, an English speaking country, they might need you to translate these documents. So again, different countries will do it differently, so you need to research on this, because some countries will require you to send your original documents to them so that they can do the translation, and some countries maybe you can do it locally. So it will depend. Again, I can't go into like very deep details because there's so many countries in the world and people do things differently, but at the end of the day, most of them is usually the same. There's just very slight variations of the same procedures. Now, for the sake of Kenyans, you need to certify your documents. I'm guessing other countries it will be the same. And what I mean by this is your academic documents. Let's say you have a degree, let's say you did a degree in engineering, you will need to certify these documents at the Ministry of Education. So you will take all these documents, and they're going to charge, I think it's like 200 shillings per document. So all the different courses that you did, all that is going to be like 200 shillings, which I think is very affordable, because most likely you maybe only did like 7 or 5. So, it won't be like a lot of money. Once you certify all these documents, the government, that is the Ministry of Information, is going to give you one like mother document that will list all the documents that they certified from you. So that will be your let's say you did again engineering and it had several modules. All these have been verified by the Ministry of Education, and then they have this one document that lists all the documents that have been verified. This is very important. You need to certify your documents, because this is going to be used everywhere. So it's not just Kenya. Like if you're applying for a job, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in South America, it doesn't matter. They are all going to require this. So basically what it shows is the original documents that you have is going to have a new stamp which shows certified by Ministry of Education, maybe by the Director of Education, whatnot. And it's going to take you maybe like only a week or 2 weeks. The process for doing this is quite quick. And that is the academic documents. So yeah, you don't need to certify like your primary school stuff and your high school stuff. Yeah, that one they really don't care about that. So it's only like your professional things that you studied, the diplomas, the bachelor's, masters, and things like that. So those should be certified. Now, once you've done that, the other thing I'm going to advise you to do is do the English exam. I know, like, if you maybe have a master's in English in Kenya, you're not required to do the English exam to prove that you can speak English. Let's say when you're applying for a job like to the UK or other English speaking countries. But I promise you, it's going to create issues. Like, yes, they don't require it, but there is going to be a bit of a back and forth, like, oh, you need maybe to verify something. It's not worth it. It's expensive. It's like 25,000 shillings or like 30,000 shillings. Just pay that money, do that exam, and get that certificate. Even if you are exempted from doing the exam, it's more of just your own surety that things are going to go well. And again, different countries will require different exams. For my case, I think for the one that I did for the UK, it's called IELTS, something like that. I can't even remember the name. And it has different levels. So there's like A, there's like B, there's like, I don't know what, I can't even remember. But the one that I did was just a bit higher from the base one. So the base one is just for you to prove that you can speak, which is fine, but you have to renew it every, I think, like 2 years or something. While the one that I did is one of, do it once, you're done. You'll never need to verify that again. So it's more exams. So it's speaking, listening, writing, and reading. So it's like 4 exams in one. So again, if you know English, which most Kenyans already know, go for that instead. Don't go for the lower one. Just go for the higher one, which you do once and forget. So that is my personal advice. It's not hard. I mean, if you're watching this video, it means you're fine. You are going to pass that exam. So I believe in you. Go and do the higher one. I think I'll find the exact name and just write it here so that it pops. But yeah, that is it basically. That is all you need to do for applying for a job. That is basically all the documents that you need individually as a person to apply for jobs in any country. So it's way less documents than even the tourist video which I did, which requires so many other documents. Because maybe on the finances you need to provide documents to prove that you are going to be able to pay for the flights to the country you're going to. Some might require you to prove you can have accommodation. So if you have a friend or if you know someone in that country that can sponsor you or can host you, it will be advisable for them to also write a letter that they can be able to provide that. So you're going to attach this document while applying for jobs, not even the visa, for jobs. Even though all these documents are also, you're also going to send them when you're applying for the visa when you reach that point. But also that company is going to send you several documents to verify and to solidify your visa application. But yeah, all these documents are just before you apply for the job, and also once you get a job when you're applying for the visa. So yeah, accommodation, finances that you can foot the bill for all that. Now, once you have all these documents, the next thing is now trying to find a job. Now, for a job, there's so many websites where you can apply for a job. The first website which I can recommend is go to Indeed. There's Indeed UK, there's Indeed like all over. So Indeed is a good place to start. You can go to LinkedIn. I really hate LinkedIn, but yeah, you can use LinkedIn for looking for jobs and things like that. But also one very important and mostly overlooked, or is it underlooked, a website that will be official government websites. Because like for the case of Canada, I think I once saw their website has like hundreds or was it thousands of jobs. So this is like companies sending their information to the Canadian government and telling them like, oh, we are looking for people in these sectors. So yeah, that website has so many jobs where you can just like scroll for hours and filter depending with whatever you want. Now, something I can mention to make things maybe just easier, especially if you want companies that will sponsor your visa. On the search bar, write visa sponsored. Don't even write whatever job you're looking for, just write visa sponsored, and most of them will show you all the jobs where the companies are going to sponsor for your visa. So that is helpful. Again, the visa is very expensive because if you're looking for a job, probably you, I don't know, broke, maybe you just finished your schools, you don't have a lot of money, so you're trying to save as much as possible whenever possible. So if you see visa sponsored, it means two things. It means that company is legally already allowed to hire someone from outside the country, and two, it means they're going to foot your bill probably for the visa, so you won't have to pay for that. And most of them are actually good enough to even provide for you accommodation for the first like 2 weeks, 1 month, so that you can settle in. They provide a place for you to sleep, so because you're in a new place, your mind is going to be just going crazy or completely. It's like you're learning. Think about it. It's like you're a young kid who's been taken to a new school. You know how it's like, oh, where are the washrooms, where are the classes, where it's the same experience. I think it's just maybe a bit worse because you're now an adult and you're feeling that stupid again because it's a completely new world. People speak differently, maybe their accents are very different, how things are done are different, how people drive is different. Like you're learning everything from scratch. So yeah, have that in mind, but just be patient, with yourself, take time, and over time you're going to be able to learn how to maneuver around. Something else that I'll also advise you to get, that is after applying for a job, especially if you get the job, that should be a driving license. For Kenyans, get the AA International Driving License. With this one, you can drive anywhere in the world. So your Kenyan driving license, and then you go to AA. It costs like 9,000 shillings for the 1 year license, or like 15,000 shillings for the 3 year license. Get that, then it means if you get a job where you might be required to drive, then you're ready to go. You have your driving license and you have your AA driving license. So that makes things much easier because as so many countries actually require people that can also drive. And then another thing you can also get is a debit card. So Kenyan bank accounts most likely won't work when you go outside the country. You will need to inform them before you leave, or once you leave, you'll have to call them or go to like the social media and inform them that, oh, I'm in a different country, please allow my card to work in whatever country you're in. My advice, get a debit card, a prepaid debit card from like DTB, or get it from NCBA bank. They have a good card which you can top up with your Mpesa, or you can top up with like direct bank transfer. The app works anywhere and it's very convenient. Plus it's also more safe because you're not putting like all your money in one place. So yeah, get that card instead, because that will help you be able to pay for things easily, like paying for transport, paying for whatnot. Because yeah, the first time I traveled to the UK, none of my cards worked, even though the banks were telling me that they should work, but I'm telling them no, it doesn't work. So it was a bit of a back and forth, which yeah, the second time I traveled, I just used my NCBA card, and yeah, that worked perfectly. I didn't have to contact anyone at any point, and if it was running low, I just top up with Mpesa, or I do a quick bank transfer. And it also shows currency, like the one I have shows three currencies: euro, pound, and dollars. So it also saves you on the like exchange rates, because it does only one exchange rate when you're topping it up. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case. So yeah, that's it. Those are all the documents that you need. If you're applying as someone that is unskilled, again, just do the same thing. Like, if you don't have any education qualifications, you must have some kind of skill that you can offer. No one is just going to be like, oh, here's a job for you. You must have some kind of skill, whether you are a carpenter, whether you are a plumber, whether you are whatever it is. My advice will be, find a way of verifying that skill. So whether it's a short course of 3 months, whether it's a short course of 6 months, get that done. Because again, most countries, especially like in Europe and US, Canada, you cannot work without any sort of qualification. Like, it's next to impossible. In Kenya, we are lucky that you can just be like, shit, I'm broke, let me just go out and open a kibanda and start selling food. Here it's impossible to do that. You must have some kind of qualification. Let's say, for example, you even do like cooking in Kenya. Yeah, try and get just a very short qualification to verify that, and then get like the certificate from the health board in Kenya. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a document they show that you can handle food. So food handler certificate, something like that. Yeah, get such kind of documents. Currently, I think in most of Europe and the US, they are looking for social workers. Again, do such kind of a course. Those courses are, number one, I'd consider them to be cheap, because it's like 10,000, 20,000. They don't go beyond 50,000 shillings, and it's only like a month or even 3 months, and you are able to do this course where they are able to train you on how to do certain things, especially like social workers, social care. They'll train you to do that, because again, if you get that job, once you move to the other country, they will train you again while you're on the job. So unfortunately, if you don't have any qualification, it's impossible to get a job elsewhere. So you need to get that. If you are a driver, if you've worked with several companies as a driver, again, you have your driving license, find a way of getting some kind of certification to show that maybe from your previous companies that you've worked for, that you've driven with them for a certain duration of time. Again, all this is to just solidify your application. Unfortunately, there's nothing easy in this world. A lot of people unfortunately tend to just want like a straightforward shortcut way of doing things. There's nothing like that. It will never happen. Whether it's you're in Kenya, whether you're in a foreign country, it doesn't work like that. You have to put effort from your side first, then that will resonate also elsewhere. And yeah, that is it. Those are all the documents. I think those are the only 2 videos I wanted to do when it comes to preparing yourself for foreign trips, whether it's tourism or getting a job. And after these 2 videos, I'm back to my usual routine of making travel videos, which will be camping, hiking, visiting new places, random places, and whatever other story I can come up with, because that's what I like doing. But I just thought these 2 videos maybe might be helpful for a lot of people, especially young people, to be able to expand your horizons and look beyond what is next to you.